Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil. We got the kit reveal for Punishing One yesterday at the time of recording. I want to talk about this because I actually am a huge fan of this being a marquee rather than a galactic chase. I know a lot of people are probably very upset, but I think this is a solid change for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I think for too long, I myself am one of the biggest benefactors I would say, of galactic chases, and I think going back to marquees for ships is a very good sign for this game because it shows they're trying to generate revenue out of another source, and that could potentially lighten the load on the way that they've been generating revenue a lot more recently, which is datacrons. So please like and subscribe, comment down below. Let's give a shout out to our channel members for their continued support. Again, if you're ever interested, that link is down below along with a link to the Discord server. Go check it out. Thank you guys for keeping the faith, sticking with me. You all are amazing. I love seeing the questions, the comments. You all are awesome. Again, join the Discord if you haven't. I always have stuff. I normally have things linked throughout different videos. So if you're a channel member, you're like, Phil, I forget where that spreadsheet is. You can always ask me in the Discord and I can get that link for you. So let's get into the game here and let's talk about Punishing One. Alright guys, so as I said, the Punishing One here, this is not a galactic chase. This is a marquee unit, which is great. Again, I think that's actually very good. And again, that is, in case you're wondering, that is right down here. It is a, what is different, you will need to be level 60 and own a capital ship. So, again, it's a marquee, not a galactic chase. With the way that this ship seems as powerful as it is, I don't hate it, right? Like, this is going to be a massively powerful ship. This is going to be meta changing, and I think putting it in a galactic chase would result in, number one, a lot more players getting their hands on this for free. So by putting it to a marquee, it's really limiting the amount of people who can get it early. I don't have a problem with it. You know, more power to the whales. Hopefully this alleviates some of the need to make datacrons as excessively absurd because they're going to be selling this. And I think this will do, I have a feeling this is going to do big numbers because ships are something they know when they come out, people spend like crazy on them. So I have a feeling this will do big numbers here. So again, from a category, it's attacker, bounty hunter, and scoundrel. So again, that bounty hunter scoundrel tag is being used. And again, in case you're wondering, like, why does scoundrel matter? I mean, it just helps, right? It helps you when you're trying to get, you know, hey, there's a scoundrel fleet, which, by the way, in case you're wondering, like, what other ships are scoundrel, if we go back to the game here, you'll see here's the other scoundrel fleets. So we've got, you know, the Han's Falcon, Lando's Falcon, Outrider, the Common Pants. So, you know, the scoundrel, there is a decent amount of scoundrel ships there to be able to be used. Again, it's not a tag that's used at the moment, but who knows, maybe down the line it could, there's something there. So again, just thought I'd point that out because it is something that kind of crops up. So out of turn attacks make Punishing One deadlier and faster. There's a lot of stuff that has out of turn attacks, not just Profundity, not just Executor, but Negotiator. Even think about, you know, like the Empire fleet at times, they can attack out of turn. And then I think a big one is obviously, you know, or I'd say more subtly, is the Leviathan with Sith Fighter, or the Sith Troopers. What is that? The TIE Dagger. TIE Dagger can attack out of turn. There's an assist call from Fury class. There's an assist call from the Mark 6 Interceptor. So there's a lot of things. Steal stealth from enemies that try to avoid combat. That's a big thing. You think about the importance of stealth inside of the Profundity fleet. There's a lot of stealth there. So being able to kind of take that away from enemies similar to Dengar's character is nice. And inflicting Deathmark on a target is huge. Deathmark is a fantastic ability. It's, you know, very different than Mark. Remember, Mark just allows you to target them. Deathmark will like not only deal, you know, make them like a taunt, but deals bonus damage to them as well. So it makes them a lot easier to kill. The Punishing One is Dengar's ship. It's expanded universe. The ship has no holding cells for prisoners, meaning Dengar would bring violent ends to his bounty hunter targets for easier transport. We represented this with wanted, dead, or with the ability to inflict Deathmark. Utilize the appropriate allies to set up maximum damage potential. So obviously there's going to be a very specific fleet of bounty hunter ships that make this works. Look for the pertinent bounty hunter debuffs to get more instances of damage. Being deployed with all bounty hunter allies provides several passive benefits. Ships have reinforcement priorities, but when those are tied, like Xanadu Blood in IG-88 and IG-2000, it will go by order placed. So what they're saying here is that if you start punishing one instead of the Xanadu Blood or IG-2000, and you want Xanadu Blood to come out before IG-2000, you need to place Xanadu Blood first. So that is a big thing that they're actually calling that out here. And again, if you've never heard of that reinforcement priority, go set Clone Sergeant as your first reinforcement inside of any fleet, and he will come out first because he has a massive reinforcement priority. So this is a very, very important note that they're putting here. This cannot be understated. The Marquee will start on Thursday the 17th. And then TIE Defender does count as an Imperial TIE Fighter for the unique. That's important. Alright, so the basic quad laser cannon. Deal physical damage to target enemy. Deal additional damage for each of the following. Breach, mark, target lock. So there's multiple, like you could deal up to 4 instances of damage with the basic. That is very, very nice, especially when you think on, you know, the way the Executor works, that you could potentially have all of those debuffs on enemies very, very quickly. Disruptive combo cooldown of 3. Deal physical damage to all enemies and dispel all buffs on them. Target other bounty hunter ally gains potency up and is called to assist. Ally bounty hunter tank taunt for 1 turn, and light side enemies lose 50 speed for 1 turn, which can't be evaded or resisted. Now, that is a brutal attack. So number 1, dispelling all buffs. Alright, so you're thinking about going up against Profundity. Y-Wing loses taunt. They're going to lose their speed up, their tenacity up. Falcon loses the outmaneuver buff, so you can target him, right? Then you're going to gain potency up and is called to assist. Ally bounty hunter tanks taunt for 1 turn. So you don't even have to call Bosk to assist in order to get taunt on them. It's just, hey, you know, going to be, you know, what's it called? Like, he's just going to start taunting, and then the enemies are going to lose 50 speed. I mean, 50 speed is a lot. And notice it says light side enemies, which would include the capital ship. So that could allow Executor to potentially outrun your Profundity simply by taking away speed. Think about the Profundity, there's no turn meter gains. So losing speed is massively detrimental, even if it's just for a turn. Wanted Dead cooldown of 9. Deal physical damage to target enemy and inflict enemy with death mark, which can't be copied, dispelled, or resisted for 2 turns. Inflict breach on all enemies for 1 turn, which can't be resisted. PunishingOne recovers 100% health. This ability can't be evaded and starts on cooldown. Unique 1, Jump Master 5000. At the start of battle or when reinforced, PunishingOne gains 3 speed per bounty hunter ally and 6 speed per light side enemy, including capital ships. So if it comes into the battle, right, if it starts the battle, there's going to be 2 bounty hunter allies, so there's 6 speed. You're going to gain 6 speed then for each light side enemy. So if you go up against Profundity, you get 6 for the capital ship, 6 for Han, Y-Wing, and Dash Rendar. That was a weird way to do it, but there's, you know, the 24 speed, so an extra 30 speed at the start of a battle. Whenever PunishingOne is called to assist by a bounty hunter ally, if the enemy had buff immunity or marked, stun them for 1 turn, which can't be resisted. Whenever an enemy attacks out of turn, reduce the cooldown of Wanted Dead by 1, tripled if the enemy is light side. Whenever an enemy attacks PunishingOne out of turn, it recovers 10% health and protection. At the start of battle, if the PunishingOne is deployed and all allies are bounty hunters, excluding the capital ship. So they're calling out Executor there. Enemy Imperial TIE Fighter ships lose 200% critical chance and evasion for the rest of the encounter. The Ally Empire capital ship gains 5 speed. Ally Bounty Hunter attackers gain 100% bonus protection for 1 turn. Punishing One dispels all debuffs and ignores taunt on its first turn. That is a lot. So the Ally Empire capital ship gaining 5 speed means that a Relic 8 Executor will now outrun a Profundity. Right? Like, that gives you so much wiggle room. 5 speed is huge. So that's another big part. That Executor can now take the first turn against a Profundity. The enemy Imperial TIE Fighters lose 200% critical chance and evasion. What's the biggest thing that counters the Executor? The fact that TIE Defender comes in with all the dodge that it has and will just completely destroy you with critical hits, right? Those critical hits, the amount of damage they put out is brutal. So trying to kind of solve for that. Ally, attackers gain 100% bonus protection. That keeps you from losing something right off the bat. And then dispels all debuffs and ignore taunt on first turn. I mean, who doesn't love that, right? Absolutely love that. At the start of the enemy capital ship's turn, all enemies lose 100% critical damage until the end of the turn. Whenever an enemy gains stealth, dispel it, inflict breach on themselves for 1 turn, which can't be resisted, and Punishing One stealths for 1 turn. So where this comes into play, not only from the Profundity, but also think about the First Order fleet with the shuttle, where it's going to put everybody under stealth. Punishing One's going to take that away, inflict everyone with breach. Well, the problem there is that now Kylo Ren Unmasked gets breached, and you can mark it down and then destroy it. While Punishing One is active, breached enemies have minus 25% health and protection recovery. Enemies with Deathmark can't recover health and protection, and whenever an enemy with Deathmark is defeated, all Bounty Hunter allies gain 100% defense for 1 turn and recover 100% protection. Wow, that is pretty crazy. That is a really, really good ability. That's a lot of stuff going on there. And then finally, Reinforcement Skip Tracer. Punishing One gains defense penetration up for 2 turns. Target enemy is inflicted with buff immunity for 1 turn, which can't be evaded or resisted. What does this tell you? Don't ever bring this thing in as a reinforcement. Do not ever bring this thing in as a reinforcement. This is a starting ship. Again, I think you should have known this was a starting ship, but absolutely because of this stuff right in here, that is massive as a starting ship. Like, this thing can get, again, and what it says there, like, let's just, again, this is the unique, the start of battle or when reinforced, right? Enemy attacks out of turn, whenever an enemy, So the way I'm viewing this is that you're going to want this thing to start, even if you don't have it at high gear, just to stop some of those initial plays from happening. And depending the lineup you put with this thing, you can pretty well protect it and hopefully keep it alive, that it's going to prove to be that point of battle to stop some of these counters. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I think this moves Executor to potentially the number 1 slot. I actually might think that Leviathan could potentially struggle with this fleet. At least that, Executor will have an easier time beating it. I feel like this is going to actually take Executor to be one of the better fleets in the game, if not the best fleet. Just reading through this, the losing of speed, I feel like this is a really devastating ship. And there's a lot of abilities in here to kind of work around taunts. So you could get out the Sith Fighter right away, which getting out Sith Fighter means that the Leviathan loses turn meter, and being able to take speed away from it, I just think there's enough here that this could potentially really destroy some of the existing fleets we have. So we'll have to wait and see about how good it is, but it looks amazing. The kit looks awesome. The abilities look great. I said earlier that I'm very happy this is a marquee ship and not a Galactic Chase, and I stand by that. I think this game has really struggled recently with ships that they don't really know how to release them anymore, because they've done a lot of Galactic Chases. Think the Marauder, the Common Pants, the TIE Dagger, the Mark 6 Interceptor. Like, they've done a lot of, Galactic Chases where all of us have gotten a 7-star ship immediately. And the reason that can be problematic is there's no benefit to people who spend money. Like, there should be an advantage to spending money, and when you really sit down and think about it, when this game was experiencing its best stuff, when the best things were happening, is when stuff like this was the norm, when it wasn't normal to get a 7-star amazing meta-changing ship day 1, when it took months to get there. So I don't hate this at all. I think advantage whales. I think this will upset the fleet meta. I think it'll make GAC a lot more interesting. So I am really curious to see the impact here. And again, I am excited it is a marquee. I think that will generate revenue and hopefully take the pressure off of things like Datacrons that are kind of the driving factors of revenue in the game now. Hopefully Datacrons can kind of tone back and they can make some money off of Punishing One. Let me know your thoughts. Are you guys planning on whaling on this thing? Are you like, nah, Phil, free to play for life, unless it's Lightspeed bundles? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Again, I love you all. May the force be with you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, my friends.